What's your most unexpectedly genius decision made on a whim? Bought over 3,600 shares of GameStop mid-January 2021 after seeing many posts about it. Worked out all right. Sell any of it? All of it at $315 a piece. Damn. I was playing video games with some buddies one night when our dumbest most gullible friend goes, "You guys hear about GME?" None of us knew what he was talking about. The next day I see some chatter on r/all about it on an up-and-coming sub called Wall Street Bets. I think to myself, no way this is gonna get anywhere, but maybe I can make 10%. The pandemic forced my now wife and I to cancel our wedding ceremony. Meaning I had stacks of cash and COVID was making me think crazy things. Could have timed it better by a day or two, bought under 20 when I first looked up the price, would be sitting in a mansion instead of my nice house. Here's to pandemic insanity. And thanks, headband guy. You're welcome. I helped pay for your house. I was planning on going to Hawaii but got COVID the day before I left, so I was sad and browsing Reddit when I saw people talking about GME. I decided to put my final $22 I had in my Robinhood account into it. I had recently transferred the rest of my money to Fidelity for more sensible investing. The next day I got a notification saying that the option I bought was now worth $800. I freaked out and sold and then bought back in and made even more money. When it was all done, I had made $25K starting with that one $22 option. Of course I didn't know when to stop, so I ended up losing most of it, but it still made way more than I thought was possible. Crazy times. That shit was lightning in a bottle. Man, that was a crazy time. I remember my brother convinced me to buy GME options because there's a short squeeze. No way you can lose money, bro. I'm telling you, throw a good chunk in there and you can't lose. He had a history of risky investments, but I still threw in $1,000 of what the hell money and ended up turning it into $20,000. My brother, meanwhile, YOLO'd $22K into options and turned it into $418,000. He ended up paying like $80K in capital gains taxes, but even after accounting for that, he was up like $316,000 on a single bet, having started with just $22K. Absolute fucking insanity. Nice, I'm still in it, way below for what I paid for. Only positive thing is that I've been holding for so long it doesn't really hurt me, so I just keep them for the rocket. Which probably means I think my kids will have some nice GME shares when I die. I was hanging around in a university waiting for my brother to finish a group project. I was 18, unemployed, and had been looking for a job for months with no results. Randomly decided to apply for several jobs in my industry that I wasn't totally qualified for, just because I was bored and felt I should probably do something productive in such a studious environment. 2 hours later I got a call from a recruiter. 2 days later I got a job. This is especially important for women, who tend to be even less likely than men to apply for jobs for which they feel they do not qualify. Women apply when they meet all the criteria, whereas men apply when they meet 80%. I'm a woman and I started sending out applications to the job listings I'd normally skip, and I've already gotten 2 callbacks from jobs for which I didn't think I'd qualify. Yeah, job descriptions are like a wish list. The more you have the better, but rarely are any of the requirements a deal breaker. I've been in my BS degree or higher required jobs for 15 plus years with a HS diploma. I had a roommate with a drinking problem who got really drunk and decided to fight the cops when they showed up because he was fighting PPL on the street in front of the house. I was at work on the night shift at the time, and I came home that morning to my front door kicked in and the whole entire house was just absolutely trashed. So then a few hours after that, the landlord shows up with an eviction notice. I was too broke to move into my own apartment, so I asked a work colleague if I could rent the spare bedroom in his basement for a month or 2 while I saved money and planned my next move. He agreed. LOL. Then about a week after I moved in, he got caught cheating and just up and left his wife and child to be with his mistress. I felt bad about that because it left them in the lurch really bad, so instead of saving up money to move out, I covered the rent for a few months. In that few months, the lady got involved with another guy, and him and his kids moved in with us. It's been 12 years and I still live there. They ended up getting married and were so appreciative that I kept them off the streets those first few months. They asked me to move into a much bigger house with them where I'd have my own apartment in the renovated garage. I wouldn't trade these last 12 years for anything. I love the 3 kids as my own, and watching them grow up into talented and kind adults has been probably the most rewarding and satisfying experience I'll ever have. For the first time in my life, I really felt welcomed and that I had a family that loves and supports me. I laugh out loud when I think about how close I was to just moving back in with my mom back then. I love this. You get your space, but you're still part of a family. Genius? IDK. But my wisest was chucking a small baggie of meth I was given for free out of my friend's vehicle instead of trying it. I have a very addictive personality and struggle with alcoholism. I cannot imagine how awful my life would have turned out if I had chosen to do meth that night. I took a psychological test that said I had an addictive personality. I was skeptical at first, but I took 6 more tests that week and that convinced me. I just keep taking tests trying to one-up my high score. There's nothing quite like that first test, though. Corrected something on Wikipedia. Ended up meeting my husband. GG. I'm so curious to learn more. I started to edit more and more. Turns out the people who are really active basically all know each other, or did at the time. We started talking and it was a met online story like any other from there. This is actually a shockingly common story. There are a lot of married Wikipedians. I've always wondered if Wikipedians hated the start of every college term. I had a few courses where the professors made us create a Wikipedia account, edit a page, screenshot the edit, wait for the correction, and then report back the time it took to correct it. That was usually the first assignment of the course. Basically to show us that Wikipedia is not a good source of information. I edited the oceans page to being just a cup of water or something like that, corrected within seconds. I also tried to add myself to a list of famous people with my name. In less than an hour it was removed and I got a really nice email stating something like they are sure I am worthy of a page, but unfortunately not everyone can have a page, but if I came back with some links to show my achievements they'd reconsider. It was honestly super positive and I smiled reading it. Please like and subscribe for more daily content.